Hello everyone, welcome to Applications Manager free training series in digital experience monitoring. So now let's quickly jump into today's agenda. We are going to cover overall four topics in this session, and in the first part we will discuss how you can measure your website performance and changes in real time. In the second part, we will explore how you can proactively identify and resolve potential issues that impact users through synthetic transaction monitoring. In the third part, we will be looking at how you can analyze the behavior patterns to gain insights into your front end performance. Lastly, we will discuss how you can enhance your web page performance to safeguard your brand reputation. One, how to measure website performance and track the changes in real time. So, in this modern digital era, most businesses use web platforms to reach potential customers and showcase their products or solutions. Websites have become extremely popular as a medium for establishing a brand image and contributing significantly to a business success. Further, we well planned websites with good performance can capture the attention of the target audience, which increases the probability of converting them into valuable paying customers as well. According to the article published on BrowserStat, 47% of consumers expect a web page to load in 2 seconds or less than that. Additionally, 40% of people abandon a website that takes more seconds to load. Also, a 1 second delay in response time can result in a 7% reduction of conversions. So, if your website is unavailable or has poor responsiveness, end users won't be able to engage with your pages, which can significantly impact your business reputation. So to ensure your website's effectiveness, we should avoid performance hiccups and create a seamless digital experience for your users. So website performance monitoring is essential as it provides insights into your website's availability and critical metrics, helping you to improve its reliability. The first step is the digital experience monitoring interaction the users have within their website. So when a user try to access it, the site must be available. So website downtime and slowness are major concerns for businesses nowadays, where frequent downtimes and slowness can make you lose site reliability among loyal customers and create a bad impression on the users. So several factors can cause website downtime and slowness, like scheduled maintenance, which is a temporary period function when a site or application is taken offline for updates, backups, or maintenance. Data center problems or server errors. When there is a data center problem or server error occurs, the users may not even reach the servers. Bugs in codes. When there is a bug in the code, it may cause errors, prevent the site from loading, or result in slow loading times. So further, due to high traffic, when too many people try to access the web application simultaneously, it may not able to handle the load. Hacking events like suspicious activities by hackers can cause the website to slow down or go offline. Also, when your SSL certificates have expired, it can cause the website to slow down or become unavailable. So to prevent problems like this, you can use applications managers URL monitoring to ensure 24 bar 7 website availability. So the URL monitor acts as a continuous service that keeps constant watch over a specific URL or web page. As everyone loves a fast website with improvements in broadband speeds and super fast internet, user experience about the website speed have changed nowadays. So the response time of a website determines its speed, which is long, which is how long it takes for your web server to connect and send data packets to the user's browser. A website with minimal latency can leave a good impression on customers and help lower bounce rates. Applications Manager's URL Monitor helps you to track your website's response time, breaking it down into components like DNS time, connection time, first byte response, and last byte response time. So the first byte time in particular indicates how quickly the website is performing for end users. Also, We support root cause diagnosis, which helps you to troubleshoot issues and reduce the mean time to resolution. You can also perform content checks to ensure the availability of your URLs, making it a comprehensive solution for monitoring and maintaining your website performance. So now let me take you to the Applications Manager user interface and demonstrate how URL Monitor works. So I believe everyone can able to see my screen that shows Applications Manager user interface. So this is how the Applications Manager user interface look like. So in order to add a new monitor, URL monitor under the new monitor page, add new monitor section. So this is where we search for the specific type of monitor and add them into Applications Manager. So if you notice on the left side, we have categorized the complete monitor types available in Applications Manager. So now we are going to add a URL monitor, which is available under the category of web server and services. So now I'm going to choose the HTTP URL. So these are all the details that we need to provide. First, we can give the display name as per our convenience. And the second criteria is to provide the specified URL that we would like to monitor. And after providing the polling interval and the timeout seconds, we can move on to the HTTP configurations. Here we can choose the form submission method, whether we want to poll it using the get method or a post method. If you have any specific parameters, you can mention or you can leave it as it is. Further, if you are using any authentication, you can mention if your a website requires any authentication, you can mention it. Whether you can, if you have already added this from the credential list of Applications Manager, you can directly choose it from there, or else you can directly mention the username password, or else if you have the SAML ADFS authentication, so you can add a new SAML authentication here as well. So you can provide the display name, the redirection URL after providing the form submission method and custom header types and the SSL version according to the configuration. So you can provide all the details to configure the SAML. So once it has been configured, you can mention the error code response time. So by default, the error code 200 will be mentioned. So if you want to specify any specific error code, you can mention that as well. So any user agent details, you can mention the user agent details as well. So after providing all the details, we have the content check as well. So in this content check, you can mention the specific content that you would like to monitor in specific. So let's say for example, I'm going to monitor my Applications Manager website. So I'm just giving a name as monitor. So I just want to monitor this specific content. So likewise, you can mention the should contain and the should not contain. So after giving all the details according to our requirement, so and clicking on the add to URL monitor, the monitor will be added. So once the app monitor has been added, so it will be available under the monitors tab. I choosing the category view under the web server services. I can able to view it. So I'm choosing the HTTP URL. Yes. So this is one of the URL, this URL that has been added. So when it's come to the monitor attributes and parameters, so first and foremost would be the availability. So we will show the complete availability status of the URL monitor. The next we will show the response time and the response split up time in this chart. On the right side, we can have the tabular data of the average response time and the current response time. So if you like to configure an alarm for any specific attribute mentioned over here, we can create a custom threshold and associate a specific action, like where it can be an email action or SMS action, so that we can able to receive the alerts once the threshold has been breached. The same tabular detail for the attributes available for the DNS time, connection time, the first byte and the last byte time as well. If you scroll down to the bottom, we can have the page size for the last 1 hour. So we can have the percentage of the page size. So if you want to configure alarm, so if any page sizes increases or decreases, we want to monitor that specific attribute, we can configure alarms as well. So this is how the Applications Manager URL monitor works with Applications Manager. So now we can jump into the part two. So, which is going to be proactively identifying and resolving potential issues that may impact the users through synthetic transaction, which is going to be very essential. So, in today's to start with, in today's age of instant gratification, users expect a seamless, issue-free experience on your website. While monitoring website availability and response time gives you a general idea on whether your website is operational, it does not ensure that users can perform transactions without any issues. So, to truly understand the user experience on your website, synthetic monitoring techniques are necessary. So, here are some of the benefits of using synthetic transaction monitoring. So, the first thing, you can analyze the performance from an end user's perspective through synthetic transaction. This involves assessing the website's performance as experienced by the typical user, which helps identifying issues that might otherwise go unnoticed. So you can test the performance of critical user parts on websites by recording complex workflows using Web Transaction Recorder. For example, let's consider the process of navigating an e-commerce website, logging in, searching for a product, adding it to the cart, proceeding to the payment gateway, and logging out. So the synthetic transaction monitoring allows you to record such complex workflow to keep an eye on important transactions happening on your website. If an error occurs during the logout phase or the payment gateway phase, it helps to identify these issues before the end users encounters them. Further, you can dynamically track the website's availability and performance from an end user's location using end user monitoring agents. One of the main advantage in this ability to monitor the availability and performance of your website from your end user's location is well noticed. So this ensures your website meets its service level and business level objectives by verifying whether these SLAs are being met. So you can gain a clear view of your service level agreement as well. Let us see how Applications Manager Real Browser Monitoring enhances synthetic transaction monitoring. So this feature, also known as real browser monitoring in Applications Manager, so which launches an actual browser like Firefox from multiple geographical locations, tracks how website elements load from those locations and simulate the user experience. First, it simulates business critical processing using Selenium based scripting. Every action performed during recording, such as hovering or clicking on an element, is saved in a Selenium script. Then Applications Manager opens a real browser such as Chrome or Firefox and replays the recorded transaction to identify any error occurs during the playback. Once all done, the performance metrics are published on the monitoring dashboards. Also, it allows you to take screenshots during the playback if any error occurs. So the main advantage of this synthetic transaction monitoring is that enables testing from different locations, whether it may be enterprise branches or actual user locations. So to facilitate monitoring across multiple locations, we use end user monitoring agents. Example, if you are hosting an event at your office and have created a registration form, it is important that employees from all the branch offices can register without any issues. To test this critical workflow, you can use Application Manager's real browser monitoring. First, you need to install the end user monitoring agent in all your branch offices. Next, you can record the process of filling out and submitting the form submission in your main office. The same transaction will be executed in the branch offices using these agents, which will send the data back to the applications manager. So this setup allows you to verify that the workflow operates smooth and error-free across all the branch offices locations. Also, end user monitoring agents provide enhanced visibility into the user experience and helps you to identify potential performance issues. These agents can be installed in branch offices across different cities or directly on the end user systems as well. All that is required is a secure HTTPS connection between the agent and applications manager server. Now, let me take you to the user interface and show how this real user monitoring works exactly. And I hope everyone can able to see my screen here. So once after we deployed the agent in the branch office or any of the locations that we would like to deploy, so we can able to access the agent like this. So the agent will be once after we deploy, the agent will be available like this. The first and foremost step would be configuring the EUM agent. So let me show you why it is necessary to configure according to requirement over here. So first we need to copy the EUM API key. So this key can be obtained from the settings, REST API, end user monitoring API key. So once after pasting the key and logged in, so we can see the complete server details. So I have hosted this agent on my local machine, and up where we can configure the polling interval and whether we can run the Firefox in headless mode or multiple agents, allow multiple agents to use the same host name, those configurations. And also we can use the proxy settings. If any proxy that we would like to configure, so we can use the proxy setting, this configuration to configure the same. So here we have the web driver setting. So what is this? So when you for by default for the real browser monitoring, we use the Firefox to do the playback, which will come into a bundled browser. So if you want to use the Microsoft Edge or the Google Chrome browser in order to perform the playback, so we have certain prerequisites. So once after configuring this, under here you can able to do the playback using those web browsers. So once after this agent has been configured, we can start performing the transactions. So that transactions can be performed over here. So we are going to open a new private window, and this web transaction recorded. In this web transaction recorded, I'm going to give the server details. Here port, I'm going to give the web server port. So in this API key, we need to copy and paste the applications manager REST API key. So under the same settings, REST API, we can find this app manager API key. So now we can paste it and log in. So once logged in, this is how the web transaction recorder will be shown. So this once after you deploy the agents, this web transaction recorder can be associated using the Google Chrome from the Google Chrome Play Store. We can install it as a plugin. So I'm going to record a new transaction. So here under the new transaction, I'm going to provide the applications manager URL, which is going to be a desktop site. So the recorder has been started. So I'm getting into the features tab, clicking on every tab, and want to make sure all the contents are visible over here. So now I have verified everything is working fine. I'm going to stop the recording. So this is a simple transaction. I just want to do a playback. Just clicking on playback and save, just providing the page load time and the delay time. And the Firefox by default we have. If you have configured the Edge or Chrome browser for the playback, we can choose them as well. So this is the one agent that is currently deployed. If you have multiple agents deployed on multiple locations, we may choose that specific agent over here. So once after doing that, so if you want to, we can do the test playback. Otherwise, I'm going to choose next. If any specific monitor name I want to address, I just to provide that specific monitor name. Here I can choose the same Firefox. This is a specific agent. I'm just reconfirming. If I want to associate any monitor group for this specific monitor, and I can associate that and screenshots. So when what is this screenshots is, so we have recorded multiple transactions, those transactions. So for example, we gone through 2 3 pages, right? So those 2 3 pages will have a screenshot that is shown in the user interface and the performance metrics. So once after we save the monitor, it will be saved in applications manager user interface. Okay, once after it's saved, let me show you how it's available in the user interface. Yeah, so before I'm showing into the user interface, So I will show you where we can add the monitor. So under the monitors, we can choose the real browser monitoring. So we have two steps. The first one using the web transaction recorded, which is the step that we followed right now. We are going to deploy agent using this web transaction as a plugin. We are going to record the complete playback and add it as a monitor. The second one would be the import Selenium test case. So how this process can be obtained. So if you're unable to use the web transaction recorder to do the playback, to complete the playback, so we can do a playback using the web browser as well. So let me show you. So under the applications managers, I'm just trying to do this performance record over here, right click under inspect, under performance, I'm just start recording. Is getting into the application servers tab and getting into this Microsoft.NET page. Yeah, I'm just stop the recording. So it is loading. So once after it's completed, we can download it as a HAR file. So only the JSON and the HTML file are supported. I'm just saving this file in my local application server. Once I have added, now I'm going to add it as a monitor using the Selenium script. Same under the monitors, RVM, import Selenium test case. I'm just giving name as applications manager. Now I need to choose a file under the downloads. I can choose the JSON file. I can choose the timeout seconds and the think time and everything, and choosing the specific agent. So using the Firefox, I'm choosing this specific agent in the location and save it. So by doing that, the monitor will be directly added. So if I want to monitor it using the web transaction recorder, I can directly go into the add new monitor, into the monitor, RBM monitor. So we can, once after we completed, so there is no separate steps to directly add the web transactions. Once we completed the transaction, it will be directly added as a monitor for monitoring. So under the monitors tab, category view, here under the web server services, we have this real browser monitoring. So in the monitor information, we have the configuration details under the performance overview. So we can find the complete health and availability details. So if I scroll down a little bit, I can see this specific agent where we added, that playback is running on. So currently the average page loading time is this much 3256, and the transaction time is around 16,000. So if you want to configure alarms for any of the specific transaction time, we can configure alarms as well. Now I want to drill down into the metrics. By clicking on the specific agent, I can see the average page loading time on the left, the transaction time on the right, and the page loading time of each steps. So totally here for this applications manager website, we have 5 steps. So this chart will be combined of these 5 steps and show the complete performance metrics. So currently these 5 pages which was recorded is currently up and running, and the page loading times are these. I want to have a drill down details of the each application web page. Here I can see this is the first web page that was recorded, and this is the second page. This is the third page, and the fourth and the fifth. And for the each specific page, we can have the resource allocation size, like what is the script that is obtained, and what is the HTML that is obtained, and what is the image, and what is the CSS. So we can share this information, and the web application team can have a deep insight into this specific areas. And if they want to optimize, if they want to balance any images or any CSS or JavaScript according to the requirement. From this beautiful pie chart, they can have the a complete view of the application web page. So after that, we can have this beautiful web waterfall chart view. So in the waterfall chart view, we can have the complete front end details, that is front end details of your website. So how much the response time that is taking for the each transaction to complete and what is the response time in each transaction. I can see this specific transaction is taking around 1094 milliseconds. And what are all the details that is taken for the, we can have the drill down details like the start time, redirection time, domain lookup, connection time, and the secure connection time is around taking 327 milliseconds, and compared to the network latency time, it is a quite more. So likewise, we can have the complete flowchart view of this real browser monitoring under this five transaction that we have recorded. Okay. So now we have seen the complete details of the synthetic transaction monitoring. So now let's move on to the use cases for the synthetic transaction monitoring. So what are what are some scenarios where your business might benefit from synthetic transaction monitoring? First, you can use it to compare to your website's performance with your competitors by setting up benchmark scenarios. You can also track how your application perform over time and compare your company's performance to top competitors within a specific historical time frame or geographical region. So this approach helps you to develop a strategic outlook and maintain a competitive edge in the marketplace. Next, with the help of this synthetic transaction monitoring, you can test new features. Since testing is crucial during the early stages of application development, synthetic transaction provides baselines and thresholds that help you to identify potential obstacles in real time. Further, you can assess the performance of third-party applications, where today's websites increasingly rely on third-party features such as customer reviews, web analytics, social networking, SEO, and video content as well. So if any of these elements fail, it can negatively impact your website. So synthetic transaction monitoring helps you to keep track of these third-party applications, alerting third party applications, alerting and making it to very accountable for your third party vendors as well. So by monitoring the steps involved in transaction and the page load times for each step, you can evaluate the performance of third party applications. If certain elements transaction time is lower than usual, you can confirm that the third party application may be underperforming. And lastly, synthetic transaction monitoring also provides direct feedbacks and performance issues, allowing your team to identify the root cause, engages the right experts, and resolve the problems before they impact the end users. So now we will move on to the next part, analyzing real user behavior patterns to gain insights into front-end performance monitoring. So first, what is real user monitoring? Real user monitoring involves capturing users' interactions with a website's real time. So it helps you to analyze how your end users sense your website. As businesses expand digitally and globally, your website can access from various devices and locations. So it is crucial to provide a consistent user experience across all geographies and devices. However, user experience can be affected by factors like network latency, operational issues, trouble driving resources, and slow internet service providers. So, what works well in one browser might not work in another browser. This is where real user monitoring proves valuable to our in applications manager. So it allows you to understand why your website performs poorly in specific regions, identify any overlooked issues affecting page load times, and determine why users abandon pages. So this information helps you to optimize your website's performance. Unlike you can understand the complete behavior of your application's behavior. So this information helps you to optimize your website performance and able to see how end users are helping end users are seeing your web application in real time. So to understand why real user monitoring is essential, we first need to consider the drawbacks of synthetic transaction monitoring, which we discussed a few minutes ago. So one major limitation of synthetic transaction monitoring is that it does not always align with reality. The traffic used for synthetic testing is artificial and not representative for a real user's experience. As a result, its outcomes and performance are often predictable as synthetic transaction monitoring relies on simulated actions rather than the real user behaviors. So another drawback is the time consuming nature of incident resolution. So when you receive complaints from the end user in real time, synthetic transaction monitoring doesn't reveal what the end user was actually doing or experiencing. So to identify issues, you would need to analyze performance for every critical transactions and create a script for synthetic testing, which can be quite time consuming. Lastly, synthetic monitoring offers a narrow view of performance. It cannot capture the rich diversity and performance variables present in the real world usage because it does not monitor actual users. So consequently, you only receive a limited perspective on your application's performance. So how real user monitor works in applications manager to facilitate data collection and reporting. The real user monitoring agent is deployed on the server where the application's manager is hosted. Small Java snippet generated by the application's manager needs to be placed in the header or footer of HTML code on the web application that you would like to monitor. So basically, so we will provide a snippet. That snippet needs to be injected in the front end landing page of your website or application. So once the JavaScript snippet is loaded, it acts as a core component that collects performance data and continuously transmits to the RUM agent. So then the RUM agent will communicate between the JavaScript code and applications manager web client describing the captured data. So real user monitoring in applications manager helps you to analyze front and complete front end performance across various geographies, internet service providers, browsers, and devices, allowing you to proactively assess how these factors impact website performance and ensure a smooth digital experience. Further, you can measure end user satisfaction, identify poor performing web transactions, and understand user satisfactions using the level through aptX scores. Additionally, you can gain comprehensive insights into domain resources and user sessions, quickly identify errors, and evaluate the impact of any new changes. So, lastly, it will help you to detect JavaScript errors, prevent users from experiencing service issues, and analyze how recent changes affect the overall user experience. So, now let's see how it looks in the Applications Manager console. So the first and foremost thing would be deploying the agent, as I mentioned. So you can deploy the agent in any server, and you need to make sure that applications manager can able to make a successful connection to that specific server. So once the agent has been deployed, we can see the whether the agent is up or down by accessing the complete agent like this. So here we can confirm, okay, so currently the RUM agent has been deployed successfully on this server. So once the agent has been deployed, the next and foremost thing would be the adding the monitor. So under the add new monitor, I'm going to choose a web server services. Here we can find the real user monitor. So we need to provide the credentials right now. So first we are going to give us display name and the website URL that we are going to monitor using the real user monitoring. And we can provide the aptX threshold in milliseconds. Then we can provide the application framework type, whether it's going to be a traditional web application or a single page application. So if you want to track the Ajax call or track the cross domain Ajax calls, we can select that specific metrics to monitor. So apart from this, if we want to exclude any specific domains, we can provide them to exclude. Same applies to the user agents as well. If you want to exclude any specific user agents, we can provide them to exclude. So after, we can choose the track resource performance and affect monitor availability if it is in idle state. So those things can be selected over here. So once selected, we can choose the agent. So what are the agent that has been deployed and has the communication to applications manager? So those agent will be available over here. So we can select the agents. So once the agent has been selected and giving all the required information and adding the monitor will be added. And I will show you how it will be available in applications manager. Under the category view, we are going to open the real user monitor. So in this real user monitor, under the copy script, so this is the specific script that I talked about. So you need to copy this specific script and inject this script in the front end landing page of your application with the help of your application team. So once this application script has been injected, so after the rum agent restart, the data collection will be started. So once the data collection will be started, these are all the details that we can able to see in the user interface, which is going to be a real-time performance data of your front-end application performance. So the first and foremost would be the AppDex score. So this AppDex score will be calculated on the complete response time for your application. So based on the complete response time that the users are experiencing, we can able to identify whether the users are satisfied, tolerating, or frustrated within the accessible of your application. So next would be the average response time. So what is the current average response time to this specific time frame? So this application have the 1607 milliseconds, and how many pages has been scrolled down, and what are all the how many errors that has been obtained. So on the summary page, we can have the complete summary detail. So we are going to drill down into the each tabs. So first tab would be the geographic tab. So under this geographic tab, we can have the complete world map view of the applications of the users, those who are accessing our application from worldwide. So currently this specific application can is accessed by the United States region users, China region users, and the India region users. So why this is very important? So by having this complete geographical view, we can have the complete differentiation between the response time and the complete details. For example, when I hover to the China region, the average response time for the users accessing our application is taking around 379 milliseconds. And in the same, if I hover to the India region, the average response time is around 919, which clearly states users from the China region are very comfortable, which giving the very low response time in order to access their application. So likewise, we can select the specific metric to view the specific metric area, like the error count on the average response count in this complete geographical map. So in the below, we can have the complete tabular view. So when I say tabular view, so currently these are all the countries the users are accessing our web application. And if you can see, users from China are very comfortable in accessing our application compared to the users in Russia. So the users in Russia are having a high response time in accessing our application. And the next thing, so we can drill down more into these details under the internet services providers. So this internet services provider, we have a separate prerequisites. So once the prerequisites has been completed, we can obtain the internet services providers details. So here currently we have this specific provider. If users are accessing multiple providers, those will be listed over here. By having a comprehensive table view of the internet services provider, we can compare, okay, this specific service provider is causing this average response time. By the same, when the users are trying to access using a different service provider, that service provider is causing a high response time. So how we can sort out this? So that's how we can do the comparison using the internet services provider. And the next would be the browser details. So in the browser details, we can able to obtain, so users accessing through this Chrome browser, Edge browser, Firefox, or Firefox iOS, how they are experiencing. If I hover to this specific spike, I can see Chrome browsers having the less response time compared to the Firefox iOS users. So this specific details can be available in a tabular view as well. So as you can see, the Firefox iOS users having the high response time compared to the Edge and Chrome users. So total this much of transaction that has been completed, and the throughput CPM, this is the throughput CPM that has been obtained. Likewise, we can compare the browser. Okay, so I can see the Firefox iOS is having the high response time for my users. So how I can obtain? So we can share this information with our application team, so they can optimize our application even more compatible within the Firefox iOS. So next would be the device type. So in the device type, so before we seen the browser, now the device, what are all the device, from which device our users are accessing? Some users are accessing in the iOS, Mac OS, Ubuntu and Windows. So when we try to access from the specific device, how the performance by the response time, if I hover to this specific chart, I can see iOS users are having a high response time compared to the Windows users, where Windows users are very comfortable in accessing our application. The same will be available in the pie chart view as well. So the top viewport, the connection type, and the memory gig that is taken for the web application to load, we can see that specific details. And in the device summary, we can have the complete detail. Okay, as I mentioned, iOS users are having high response time compared to the Windows users. So likewise, we can work with our application team to optimize these specific details. So now we have the web pages transaction response time. So these are all the common web pages that are accessible for our users. So we can sort this out using the response time. So this is seems to be the main web page that the users are trying to access. And when they try to access it, it is taking a more response time. So I'm trying to drill down it. So we have the separate AppDex score for this specific transaction as well. And what is the response time and the throughput that is taken for the specific transaction to load. And if there are any Ajax call, we can see the Ajax call as well. So apart from the web pages, we can have this user session. So totally on this specific time frame, how many users are access my application? Okay, 10 users are accessed, and in that, how many active and how many lives users are accessing, and what is the average viewing time per user is taking for my application to access, and what is the average pages navigated. Those details can be identified over here. So even if I scroll even little bit more, I can see the complete session details of the user experience performance details as well. For example, on this specific time frame, this user tried to access our application under this user ID. So under the user ID, and from Chrome browser using a Mac device in United States, he navigated one page which is taken around 52 seconds. So if I check other random person, so this user ID, this user using a Firefox under the Linux device from India navigated two pages which is taken around 52 seconds. So we can have the comprehensive detail, and we can compare from the users using different browser, different device and different country. So for example, if I want to know whether the user using this configuration, when I say configuration, using the Mac device accessing through Chrome browser from the United States, whether he is satisfied or not, by clicking on that specific transaction, we can have the drill down details. Okay, this user ID is satisfied. Same like if there any other it is taking a more response time kind of thing, so we can have the comprehensive view on that. So in the navigated page, it is taken, the document download response time is taken this much, and the page rendering time is this much, and the document rendering time is this much. This is how we can check the user sessions levels. So resources. So when it's come to the resources, we can have the complete comprehensive view of it. What is the first party resource that is associated, and what is the third party resource? So when I say third party resource, so there might be some web applications have the chat support, right? So using the chat support, which is going to be a other application that is associated with it. So how it performs to this application in order to make the overall performance of the web application more effective. So likewise, we can have the details and compare them as well. So next we can move on to the Ajax call. So in this Ajax call, we can have the complete response time, average response time, and the total count and the average resource size. Those details can be monitored over here. So the final one would be the JavaScript errors. So when I say JavaScript errors, So how many errors has been affected in this specific time frame, and how many in how many pages, in how many files, what is the who is the affected user. So those details can be identified over here. If I scroll down to the bottom, I can see the complete errors. So it seems like the errors are going to be the syntax errors that has been affected when users are trying to access. uh, the same will be accumulated over here. So we can able to see it is a syntax error, and what is a URL that occurred, and what is the time frame. In the same type as well, we can see this is a syntax error type, and in this specific transaction the error is occurred on this specific pages while accessing through Chrome browser. And these are all, this he is the user who is affected. If we have the domains that are we're trying to access, it was affected, we can see the complete domain details as well. So this is how the complete monitoring features of the real user monitoring. And also, I want to inform you that this real user monitoring and real browser monitoring are going to be a add-on feature available in Applications Manager, and both are the agent-based monitoring solutions. So now we have covered both real user monitoring and synthetic transaction monitoring. Let's discuss how they complement each other and provide significant benefits to your website. First, let's talk about correlating business with performance. So, synthetic monitoring offers performance data that helps identify issues like slow page load times and network bottlenecks. However, to understand your web performance affects business revenue, so which will be affects your complete business revenue. So you need to more, you need more than just synthetic transaction monitoring. So real use here, the real user monitoring comes into play. So with the help of the real user monitoring, you can have the crucial insights into your actual business metrics, such as conversion rates, which can be correlated within the ongoing performance data collected from synthetic testing. So this correlation helps you to assess how performance impacts your revenue. So next, consider identifying bugs before users encounter them. So the problems are inevitable regardless of where your applications are hosted. Synthetic transaction monitoring is highly effective in spotting configurations issues caused by off hours maintenance or other changes as well, right? So allowing, which will allow you to address these problems before users begin accessing your services. So real user monitoring is the most valuable for measuring application responsiveness for each live during the peak hours. When it's come to the troubleshooting outages, combining synthetic transaction monitoring and the real user monitoring, the data can be incredibly helpful. If synthetic transaction monitoring test fails or triggers an alert, RAM data will show the real-time performance impact on the user experience. So similarly, if your RAM data reveals a performance anomaly, you can use synthetic testing to replicate the issue across your various internet service providers and geographical locations. So this approach allows you to gather data from multiple vantage points and pinpoint the root cause. By pinning point to the root cause, which may help the data between the end users and your application services to be more effective. So also, I would like to inform you that, as I mentioned, so these tools are the add-on features available in Applications Manager. So let's we move on to the final part of this today's training session, which we are going to see about enhancing web page performance to safeguard your brand reputation. So what is web page analyzer? So we have the web page analyzer in Applications Manager. So what exactly it does and why you need one? So synthetic transaction monitoring and real user monitoring provides insight into your website performance from an end user perspective, right? The Applications Manager web page analyzer monitoring service allows you to perform detailed web page analysis and track your web pages, and even though optimize performance using page speed roles and suggestions as well. So which is going to be an advanced monitoring feature than the URL monitor. So it will also helps you to identify the specific factors that are slowing down your website, and page speed insights is an online tool that identifies performance best practices and for any website that you are monitoring. And also it will offer suggestions and optimizations and overall ideas on how you can make your web page even more faster. So what does a web page analyzer in applications manager does? The web page analyzer tracks and provides the insights into various key metrics, helping you to identify and effectively manage your web pages. So during each poll, the applications manager loads the web page in a Firefox in a controlled state and captures the real-time data on various performance metrics. So with the help of web page analyzer, you can even more receive information on response time, domain summary, performance scores, and suggestions as well. Additionally, you get request tracking with the waterfall chart. I will show you in the user interface while we discuss that. So this chart visually represent critical metrics related to the each transaction as the components of the web page loads. So by tracking these transactions, the web page analyzer help you to identify components that are loading slowly and allowing you to address potential issues and ensures optimal website performance. So let's see in the user interface how this web page analyzer works to understand this working procedure even more better. Okay, we are in the user interface. Same like under the monitors tab, add new monitor. So under the web server services, so we have this web page analyzer. We're going to give the display name, the web page URL that we are going to monitor after providing the page load time and the wait time and what is the method that we are going to use, whether it is a get method or a post method. If any custom HTTPS headers available, we can mention that as well. So after providing the username and a password, it's not mandatory. So if you have one, you can provide that. And if you want to block any specific domain, you can block that as well. And also we have the add content check response, so we can monitor the specific content as well. So same like the URL monitor, if you want to monitor a specific content, we can use that specific content to monitor. And we can have the SSL TLS monitoring as well into into a single monitor. So we do have a separate SSL monitor to monitor your complete expiry date. So along with this, if you monitor inside the web page analyzer as well, so you can enable and provide the details to monitor using the web page analyzer. So after providing all the complete details, it will be available for monitoring. So like this. So under the monitors tab, category view, here we have the web page analyzer. So I'm just opening it. So under the overview tab, we can have the complete configuration details and the response time, domain summary. So what are the domains that are available and what is their IP address and how many requests came and what is the size of the request and what is the average response time and the throughput and currently what the domains health summary. So if you want to configure alarm for any of the specific attribute, we can configure the alarm as well. So apart from the overview, we can have the network log. So this is the waterfall chart I just spoken before. So here we can have the complete HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript, and what are the images that are available as a request. We can see the complete transaction time. So by hovering to this specific transaction chart, I can see what is the connection time, domain lookup time, secure connection time, and the network latency time that is taken for this specific transaction. So along with this network log, we can have the resource details. So under the resource details, we can have the separate allocation of the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and images that are available. So we can have the comparison between the requests that are available over here. And if we want to configure any alarms for any of the request or size, we can configure it as well. So here we have the complete resource allocation. So in this specific page, we can see the script is around 64% and the image is around 14% and the HTML code is around size is around 3.6%. So we can have the complete resource allocation over here. And this is something very needful. So this is something called the page speed insight. So we have the third party tool that will show you the page speed rules. So by having the high page speed rules, we can able to provide a better user experience for the user, those who are accessing our application. For example, these avoid bad requests, these are all in the A grade. So now let's see defer pricing of JavaScript. So by doing this drop down, we can see the complete praised initial loads during the JavaScript, which is about reduces due to the blocking of the rendering. So we can share this information with our application team and ask them to optimize. By optimizing this, the grade will be in A and so that we can provide a better user experience and we can have the enable compression. So these page sites are taken from the internet, and according to the end users experience and their how they accessing the application and how they are satisfied or not, these scores have been given. So according to these scores, we can able to give a better performance for our end users. This is how the web page analyzer works. So now we can move on to now we tried the now we can have the look on the brand reputation monitor, so which will help you to prevent your website being blacklisted. So basically, it provides the insights into whether your site has been identified as a suspected or malware or phishing or any description or containing any unauthorized software into your application trying to access. So we can monitor the complete details in the security perspective. So additionally, you will be notified if any of your pages are marked as unsafe. So let me quickly show that as well, so we can have the better understanding on the brand reputation monitor. So same like the monitor types, we can choose the brand reputation monitor over here as well. So we need to provide the display name and the web page URL. So after providing the connectivity, checking the connectivity and adding it as a monitor, it will be available under the monitors tab, category view. So here we have the brand reputation. So it will basically show the health and availability, and this is a single page, and in the single page we can see the malware count, phishing count, and the unwanted software count. So if currently there is no nothing suspicious in this application, we use this specific monitor type to safeguard our application. So if you can see this specific URLs we are currently monitoring, and this is currently not suspect from any malware or not suspect from any phishing or not suspect from any unwanted software. So this advisory is provided by Google. We have a tie-up, separate tie-up. So with the help of Google, we can able to fetch the information in order to safeguard our application. Okay. So we have discussed many things over this complete webinar for the digital experience monitoring. Let's have a quick recap in today's session. So in the first part, we discussed on how to monitor individual URLs to improve user experience. Next, we explored how to analyze critical workflow issues using synthetic transaction monitoring. In the third segment, we saw how synthetic transaction monitoring can provide insights beyond the application only view. In the fourth part, we covered how to understand real-time user experience with the real user monitoring, and concluded by discussing how to optimize web pages using a web page analyzer and a brand reputation monitor. So thank you everyone for your valuable time and participation.